15-inch Angel Baby centerpieces. Let's go ahead and start. On Silhouette Studio, I'm in my designer edition. Let's go ahead. I'm going first to prepare my mat, the cardstock I'll be using, the printer, and then I'll bring in the image. I like doing this first. So let's go ahead to your right hand side, click on page setup. On the page setup, we select the machine you're using. We're using a Cameo. The cutting mat, I'm using a 12 by 24. Why? Because I'm cutting a 15-inch image. You cannot cut a 15-inch image on a 12 by 12 mat. It's impossible. Your machine will go crazy and it can even be damaged once it starts cutting out the mat. Reveal will remain the same. We're not going to use that for this type of image. The media size will be the paper you'll be using. Now, for the size, I like selecting custom because I like coming in here. It's already set. I'm sorry. I like coming in here custom, and it's 11 by 17, 65-pound white cardstock. Orientation remains the same, which is this one right here. Rotate remains the same. Print and cut borders. Show print border and show cut border. That means that your image must be inside those two borders. We're not using print bleed for this type of image. Now, let's go ahead and set the printer. This gray box that you see here, that's letting you know that your printer is set to 8.5 by 11, even though you have it selected here 11 by 17. To fix that, go to File, Print Page Setup. You select the printer you'll be using, the paper size, and now it's 11 by 17. You're going to see, once I click OK, that this box will change. It will become bigger. Okay, we're good to go. We have the mat 12 by 24. We have our cardstock 11 by 17. Let's go ahead and click on this third box on the same page setup, which is the registration marks. We have to turn them on. You have to turn your registration marks in order for your machine to recognize what it will be cutting. Your image needs to be below the registration mark, above this registration mark, which is the black box, this gray fence, this half right here box, and this half box right here. Now, advanced options, I don't use that for this image. We don't need that. Dimensions, position, we don't need that. Orientation is just the way you want your registration marks to look. Inverted, or we can use default, which I'm leaving to default. Okay, now that we have that all set up, let's go ahead and bring in our image. To bring in our image, you have several options. Since we already set up the canvas, if you click on the folder on your left-hand side where it says open, or you go to your library and pick an image, it'll open a second tab. We want the image to be on this canvas, not on a second tab. In order to achieve that, let's go ahead and click on File, Merge, and click on your image. Now let's go ahead and let me show you something real quick. Let's have her 9.4 by 15, and we lock it. If you notice, this box right here is 15 inches in 9.4, not the actual image. If you put your image here, you see your image is almost like maybe 11 inches, 10 or 11 inches. Now let's go ahead and release her from that box. So what we do is you go back to your right hand side, click on the Trace tab, select Trace Area, highlight the entire image, and then we leave it in solid fill, threshold, put it on 100, raise it up to 100, and then we go ahead, trace and detach. drag your image back onto your canvas, and I want you to notice right here. Oh, where is she? This is the shadow. This is the box that we do not need. Delete it. Here we go. Now let's go ahead and resize her. It was 12. She was 12 inches by 7. Click on the image, unlock, and again, 9.4 by 15. Enter and lock. Make sure your image is inside the boxes underneath your registration marks, which is this one, this gray fence, and these black corners. And then above the gray fence here and in the box all around. Once you do that, go back to select trace area, highlight your entire image, solid fill, threshold to 100. For this image, we will not be using the rest of these options. We go down, make sure your image is highlighted completely in yellow. And then we trace outer edge. Tracing outer edge is for you to let the machine know where it will cut. Now, I do not, with any other image, I do the trace outer edge. I don't know if you guys can see it right here. Let me just go ahead and click on send real quick. Right there, whatever's in red, that's what the machine will cut. Now, I'm not going to do this border for this image. Why? Because the machine will try and cut all the wing piece by piece. It was taking way too long to do that. So an alternate way, we'll be adding a white border, and then the machine will go all around the image with no issues. These are the only images that I use the white border on, these vintage babies. For some reason, the machine wants to cut strand by strand, and I can't be waiting 30 to 45 minutes for it to finish. Just an example, how long it takes. Sometimes it's 15, 20 minutes. It all depends the image. Now, if you don't mind waiting, then let's wait for me to get to this screen again, and then you can just go ahead and use the same technique after you do this red border. Let's go back to the design, drag your image out of the way, and let's delete this. Put your image back on your canvas, and to add the border, click on your image, go to your right hand side, and you'll see a star, which is the offset. Click on the offset. Click on the first option, which is offset. And then I leave the distance as 0.125. It gives it a nice border, not too big, not too small. If you want it wider, you can do that. If you want it smaller, you can just go ahead and adjust your size. Now the corners, they have the corners, you have options, have the corners square, have the corners round. Now let's go ahead and click on apply. Highlight your entire image. Go to object and group. Grouping your image will allow that red border to remain behind your image, and you can go ahead and move it around. And also, I don't know if you guys noticed that the wing was over the borders, the print and cut borders. So I grouped it so I can go ahead and adjust the image and place it right in the middle, inside those border lines and below that registration mark and above this registration mark. Once you do that and you're satisfied with the image, let me check on the size. They're fine. Let's go ahead. Let me X out of here. I'm going to go ahead and click on send. Now, it created that second border. Why? Because we have to go up here where it says where this layer is. These layers, it's on layer. So let's go ahead and click on, if you click on simple, not simple, line, I'm sorry, not simple, line. It was on layers. So click on line so it would only create one border, one outline all around your image. Now this remains the same. Line color, if you want to change your line. Now let's go ahead and material. If you want, if you want to change the color, if you want to add color to your border, you do so right here where it says line color. I'm going to leave it no color. No color means it's going to cut whatever cardstock you load, whatever you print on, which is white cardstock. So material, I already have it said, 100-pound cardstock. Action is cut. The only action is cut. And the tool, your blade. Now, when you're on here, the speed, I have it the fastest speed, which is 10. The force, you'll see maybe yours is different. I have it on 33 because my blade is pretty old. It's like 2 years old, and I refuse to change it because it's still cutting. It's just the force that it's a heavy force for it to cut all the way. Maybe you guys have a new blade and your force, you'll have it maybe in 5 or 6. We're not going to use passes. We're not going to use none of that for this image. Now, I don't know why it's saying unavailable. Oh, because I don't think it was turned on. Okay. Now, once you connect your machine, you go ahead and go right here to the printer, upper left-hand side. You choose your printer. I'm using my wide format 7740. I already have my preset, which is 15 inches cutouts, and you can do this on your computer as well. Save your presets, that way when you go print, you don't have to be back and forth setting them. Once you do that, you click on print. Once your image prints, you go ahead, stick it on your mat, load it to your machine, following the guidelines on your machine, and then you go ahead and click on send. Once it cuts, we go back to design. We already have our image grouped. You go back to object. Let's mirror this image. Let's go ahead and click on replicate, and we click on mirror left. Move the image to the side. Place this image right here. I did this to avoid the back and forth sizing or duplicating it, then added that red border. Once you do that, you go ahead again, click on send, and follow the same steps as the other image that we just printed out. Now, once you have both, I'll see you back at the table so we can start assembling the centerpiece. Okay, now that we're back at the table, let's go ahead and start. Let me get our pieces. Here are the cutouts. Let me just put this on the side. And the other two cutouts already assembled one of the centerpieces. So let me see if I can adjust this camera so you guys can see it. Right there. There she is. Sorry, the mess. Hey, it's a craft room, supposed to be messy. Okay, here she is. This is what we're making today, and she is double-sided. She has an embellishment of a flower here on the bow. She has like a small little decoration here on her tutu, on her ruffle pants skirt, and she's all glittered up. Okay, now let's go back here and let's start. First, 3x5 wood base, also known as wood plaque. Your drill, 12-inch dowel rod, 3/16 the diameter. Take your drill and you're going to go ahead and drill a hole right in the middle. Once you do that, you set everything aside. And then just take your dowel rod and make sure it fits, which it does, right there. And then set that aside. Mod Podge, gold glitter, E6000, paintbrush.
I have the lavender acrylic paint. This is Stickles Gold Glitter Glue. What it is, I transferred from the big bottle of Stickles onto this tiny one because to bling up our centerpiece, it has small little, you know, pieces, not small little pieces, small little areas that with the other Stickles bottle, the mouth, the opening was too big and a lot of glitter glue was coming out, so I just transferred it here to this one. And I did the same thing with my Glossy Accent. This is to give gloss to the eyes. What I did was I transferred it here to this one because of the tip. We need that. And then we need some trim. This trim, I at times find it at Joann's Fabric. Sometimes they don't have the lavender. So this time I had ordered like maybe last year. I think I ordered like maybe, oh my God. I don't even remember. It was so much. I have like a box full of this color. I ordered it from Wish. I ordered a whole bunch because I know I'd be using it a lot. And it's nice, pretty lavender color. So just set that aside. And then I have some embellishments. These embellishments, I had bought these on eBay. Not this container. This container I had bought at the store and just put them in here. I bid on these little embellishments. Like maybe you'll get 10 for 50 cents, 38 cents. It all depends how much is the bid, how much you win it for on eBay. I have a whole bunch of containers. And then I have, excuse me guys. Then I have this other container of embellishment, which we'll be using for her little ruffle pants. I also got these, if I'm not mistaken. No, this was from Wish, not eBay. If I'm not mistaken, they were from Wish. If I find the link or my order, I will notate it on the description. Hopefully they'll have it. Let me set that aside. And of course, Black & Decker glue gun. I added glitter all around the slippers, top of the bow right here, this bow right here above her ruffles, and then the bow here. So next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add gold glitter to her wing and her halo right here. And for those wanting to know where I got the image, I'll also post the link in the description. It's from Divine Digital Diva on Etsy. She has a lot of these vintage babies, all types. Be careful applying the glitter. That is done. Next, let's take the wing. If you guys can see the bling on the wing and the halo. Okay, let's set that aside to dry. While that dries, let's get the next one. We're done with the wing and the upper part, the halo. Let's go ahead and bling the slippers. I forgot to show you this one. I didn't transport it to a bottle because I don't have none left. I think this is, it doesn't have, oh my goodness, I think I ran out. Okay, let's set that aside to dry. Let's go ahead and paint our base. Now let's go ahead and I'm just gonna go ahead and start with the bottom part of the base. Once you do that, you set it aside to dry. I only just give it 2 coats. Wait maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes in between coats. And let's take our dowel rod and let's go ahead and paint it. Okay, let's set that aside. Okay, that is drying. Okay, guys, I forgot the glossy eyes to add the glossy accent. Is just adding that gloss. Add it all around the eye. To apply also to the other image and then set it aside. And let it dry. Okay, now that the base is dry, we're gonna go ahead and bring in your glitter, your Mod Podge. Let me bring in a piece of cardstock. Let me go ahead and okay, once you do that, you just go ahead and tap it and just clean the edges a little bit. And now you set it aside. I'm just gonna go ahead while that dries a bit. Just gonna go ahead and clean all this so we can start assembling the actual centerpiece. Okay, we have both images. They are dry. Let me just show you real quick. I don't know if you can see the glossy eyes on that one. Okay, we have front and back. Let me start grabbing my little embellishments. And I have some small lavender flat flowers, which I used on the other one. You won't be able to see it that well. I'm gonna get another one somewhere in here. Got it. Okay, we have that. And then we have our trim, which I already have a piece. I'm gonna use this piece as well. It is dripping. So let's get a glue stick in here. I'm using Gorilla Glue. Okay, first thing is grab your base, place the dowel rod, the part that is painted, in the hole. Grab your cutout. What you're gonna do is you're going to measure your image on the dowel rod. And then once you do that, you take a pen or X-Acto knife and you go ahead and mark it. That way you'll know where to glue it on. Remember, you don't have to place your image all the way in the bottom. You can always, let me see, like this. You can do it this way and leave all this if you want. I don't, since it's glittered, I like the centerpiece, the image not touching the base, because this is this will be shipped and then the customer might not know how to screw it on, attach it. So I'm not going to do it too close to the base, but I usually leave it like this. It depends on the image. This one I'm going to leave it low. Okay, let's take it out. And take your image. And let's go ahead and apply the glue. Let me put glue here. Let's glue that down. I'm going to show you. See, you go ahead and glue it down. Let it dry a couple of seconds. I just want to show you. See, it's pretty sturdy. Once you put the other side, it'll be just fine. Now, I'm going to go ahead and glue on the flower right in the middle of the bow. Just a little bit of hot glue. I recommend on the embellishment, on this one, hot glue instead of the regular art glitter glue or any other type of that white glue that dries clear, because these embellishments are plastic and they tend to fall apart if you don't apply at least the hot glue and press it down. It'll adhere to the paper quickly. Now, let's set that aside. Let's get the next one. Okay, now that we have that, let's go ahead and let's check this one and start applying the ruffle. Now, it doesn't matter the side of the ruffle. Basically, they're the same on both sides. Let's just trim it a little bit. I like measuring first. It makes sense, I guess. Measuring first and then trimming. Okay. Right here. And it'll finish right here. And trim it. That's the top, that's the first one. Then the second one, it's this one right here, which I'll just trim a little bit on the side. See, those two pieces were good, came in handy. Okay, now I have to trim this part. I'm just measuring to see if it fits. If it goes all the way to the end, and it does. So I'm missing just a small piece. See if I can find the end. Okay. Now again, basically the same. Measure it and trim. Okay, once you do that, just go ahead and cut for the other side. Okay, let me see if you guys, okay. Now just apply the glue, not at the top, at least a little bit on the bottom, not on the very edge, because once you press it down, it'll go all the way to the edge and you don't want a whole mess. So try and apply it a little bit lower and you start pressing. Okay, there you go. Beautiful. Let me turn it over so you guys can see it. Now, for this embellishment, this is pretty heavy. So what I do is apply a little bit of E6000 on the actual, a little bit on the actual trim and the image. And then take your tweezers, add a little bit of hot glue, just a little bit on the side. That way when you press it down, it'll smear all over the hot glue and it will just adhere really quick, well, the hot glue. And then by tomorrow, the E6000 will be completely dry. And the reason being of the E6000, it's because this has a coat. And I had experienced before, just the hot glue, it will not hold. Okay, you can go ahead and press down. Okay, there you go. Okay, set it aside, and same technique with the other side. Now that the centerpieces are embellished, we have our bases that are dried. Okay, those are dried. Okay, what's next is pretty simple. Turn it around, take your second piece. What I like to do first is align it, and I start whichever way you prefer, but I usually start at the top to align it first, making sure all the edges are fine. Okay, see, that's fine. That aligned, so I'll just go ahead and fold it. And I just want to secure at least this side so it won't be moving around while I'll glue the other side. Okay, there you go. Now what I'm going to do is seal all the edge. Okay, we seal all the sides. That is great. Go ahead and seal it here. I usually hold it on my left hand and start sealing it while holding it. I usually go like this and, you know, hold it and then seal it instead of putting it on the table. Yeah, I think we can do that. And go ahead and seal it. Be careful adding too much glue to the edge. While you're pulling it, you can rip off the cardstock. Take out the excess glue. And same technique on the other side. Okay, the sides are sealed. We are pretty much done with the centerpiece. Let's go ahead and let me trim a little bit on this side. Okay, let's grab our, and we're gonna go ahead and place it. What I do, instead of shoving it in, what you can do is just twist it. Once you twist it and you hear that sound, it's all the way in. Okay, I'm just gonna put it aside. And let's get the other one, which we already had done. And let's go ahead and twist it. Okay, there we go. And here you go. Let me just go ahead and rotate the camera so you guys can appreciate our beautiful centerpieces. Okay. Okay, there you go. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. They came out beautiful. I will post a better picture at the end of the video. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. And as usual, happy crafting.